Can I now welcome to the stage Helen Carey? Fantastic. Round of applause for Helen. And Helen's going to talk to us about the positive tiredness, a concept for challenging fatigue management for people living with ALS, MND. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. I don't think that's the first one. That's it, lovely. You were testing me, weren't you? Thank you. Lovely, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. I spoke here a few years ago, I think it was in Boston, about a research study that I'd been doing talking about exercise. Few things have happened since then. First of all, I now need glasses. I didn't before, and thank you, Denise, for lending me the glasses when I realised I needed them. But seriously, a few years later, multiple studies have now shown that there is evidence that exercise, mild to moderate challenge for people with mild to moderate symptoms. I'm honestly not pressing this. Do you want me to press back? I'm not pressing it, honest. Yeah, I've not pressed it yet. It's fine, I know, yeah. Lovely, thank you. Okay, so for mild to moderate exercise with a mild to moderate challenge, we know that there is positive evidence for that. However, hold on to your seats, because I'm going to be a bit critical about fatigue management, because this is something that us as allied professionals hold very dear as an intervention. And I'm going to suggest that what we do doesn't necessarily reflect the evidence that we have for exercise. And let me get this right. Back. There we go. Okay. So, this is going really weird, I'm sorry, because I keep pressing it and it's jumping too far. No?
Maybe go next slide and maybe it can help you.
Don't worry, I'll keep going. So, let's talk about fatigue in ALS. Fatigue is a common and debilitating system, which is characterized by reversible motor weakness. We know that lots of people with ALS do have fatigue. 33% of them mild, 41% moderate, and 16% severe. We know that, and I'm not at any point here criticizing the elements that we have fatigue. We know that people do have fatigue. However, I'm going to suggest to you that fatigue is a purely subjective symptom, and hence it's not easily distinguishable from normal tiredness. Fatigue and reduced motivation have similar ratings. And we know, as I said, there's no adverse effects from exercise. The motor component of fatigue is not directly correlated with the disease, but with cognitive impairment. So, therefore, perhaps people with ALS, with mild to moderate symptoms, say that it's fatigue that they have, but perhaps they have tiredness. Tiredness is a state of wishing for rest. Tiredness is as you are feeling now while I'm trying to work out this switcher. Tired of something. Not wanting to continue because you're bored or unhappy with it. Tired is different from fatigue. We did a research design. We did multiple case studies with mixed methods, a 6-week period of intervention. And we took data collection before and immediately post, and 3 months post. We did good old-fashioned occupational therapy, mild to moderate exercise, activity that they choose. Sarah talked this morning about creativity and doing things in their context. Client-centred, own context, in a rehabilitation framework. We did that for 6 weeks. We did the ALS FRSR. Immediately after intervention, All of the case studies had improved. They'd improved. 2 stayed the same. With ALS, I don't know about you, but I'll take that. 4 people had improved. We walked away. 3 months after, 1 person had stayed the same, 2 people had improved, 3 people had regressed. There was a direct correlation that the people that had improved in their ALS had actually done more. They stopped feeling too much fatigue. They described about feeling tired. We occupational therapists love to talk about the Canadian Occupational Performance Measure. So here it is, my friends. 6 weeks post-intervention, each one of these participants felt that they had achieved in performance and satisfaction with performance. They started talking about feeling tired, not having fatigue. We walked away, and 3 months later, 1 had stayed the same, 2 were still really happy with their performance and satisfaction. 3 of them had stopped doing so much. They'd become bored. They'd stopped being stimulated. They stopped doing the creative things that they wanted to do. They talk more about fatigue. So we devised a model. And I'm sure I've bored quite a few of you with this model before. But the part that I'm going to be talking about this morning is that bit that talks about feeling alive. And you can see there the words positive tiredness. This is a model that lots of occupational therapists are now looking at to treating people with ALS. People that were in this intervention and were doing more felt alive. They felt tired. Positive tiredness, like you do at the end of today, after you feel that you've done something that was fulfilling. They felt normal, and they felt free to think. They were reminiscing on what they'd done before, because they were doing more. Positive tiredness is feeling tired, is a normal aspect of feeling alive. A high proportion of people with ALS we know have enjoyed long-term exercise. So why sometimes in our fatigue management principles do we sometimes suggest that they forget about that? This is their normal phenotype. The people that we know that have ALS are the people that have been hugely active. They've had very fast metabolisms. They've enjoyed exercise. And sometimes in our fatigue management principles, we start talking about can't do, shouldn't do. The research here found positive impact from actually encouraging tiredness. So let's just summarize the difference between fatigue and tiredness. Fatigue, we found in this study, was talked about doing less. It had a negative connotation, talked about preventing further doing. It was viewed as abnormal. It was considered as can't do. Whereas tiredness was used when having done more. It has a positive connotation. It promoted further doing. It was viewed as normal. And people, when they were talking about tiredness, were talking in terms of can do. We had various quotations from people that talked about, during this study, about within ALS. I feel tired. It's a good tired. When I do something, I start to feel a bit achy, but I push through. I feel a buzz. I then feel quite tired. But then I continue doing a bit more, and I just feel really good. These are quotations for people that were involved in this study and were continuing to do. What I suggest to you that when we do fatigue management, we talk in situations that use different concepts than we probably should use here. Some of us in our fatigue management talk about the 5 Ps. Anybody here talk about the 5? You're not going to want to put your hand up, are you? Plan, pace, positioning, and permission. I want you to think about some of the advice we're giving for that. A lot of that is about can't do, don't do, shouldn't do. Plan your day. Don't do some bits. Pace yourself. Go slower. Perhaps it's not a good idea for you to do mild to moderate challenge. Position yourself. Position yourself in making it easier. Again, we're not reflecting what we know about exercise. Permission. Give yourself permission to do. Or the 4 do's. Delay, delegate, do or dump. Get somebody else to do it instead. Delegate for someone else. Do, but not to a challenge. And dump. Don't do it at all. Now, I'm sure some of you that do fatigue management programs are starting to really prickle that I'm being critical for this. But I think we've really got to think about the language that we use sometimes with our people that we help with ALS. For people with mild to moderate symptomology, we should at this point be encouraging exercise. By all means, yes, we should be encouraging fatigue management, but reflecting what we know about exercise for a mild to moderate challenge. I put it to you that fatigue should be considered as a perception rather than a symptom. That people with mild to moderate presentation should enjoy doing to a mild to moderate challenge. That tiredness should be considered as a normal experience. And the people that we knew in this study enjoyed feeling tired 24 hours after we really put them through their paces in activity. I suggest that we use the term positive tiredness instead of fatigue for some of our people that we look after with ALS. There is not a shadow of a doubt that some of our patients that have ALS have really debilitating fatigue. Of course, there is areas that we should be looking at the P's and the D's. But there's areas, especially for those with mild to moderate, that we should be looking at individualised treatment which reflects what we know about exercise. I put it to you that we challenge our clinical reasoning. I put it to you that we challenge our language. I put it to you that everything that we've previously thought about educating our people with ALS and MND in fatigue management, we just look at again. Some of the advisory leaflets I looked at before I did this presentation, I looked at a lot of the points that are on them. If you look at the little points again, a lot of them allude to stop or avoid. I think we should probably look at it again and look whether we're reflecting the evidence. I challenge you today to think of positive tiredness. Thank you.
Helen, thank you so much. I love the positive nature of your research. It's been a real insight and a lovely way to rethink of things in a different way. So thank you for that. Do you have any questions? Yep, please go. Do we have a microphone?
Hi, again Philippe. Did you evaluate sleeping time on each patient, and was it enough time slept?
Lovely, thank you. So what a lot of the participants were doing was sleeping less during the day. They were sleeping more at night and less during the day. They actually said that they were avoiding needing to sleep during the day. They were keeping going. And what some of them did say is when they were sleeping during the day, or napping, as the good British term is that they were talking about, is that they were very often doing that from boredom rather than actually through fatigue.
Thank you. Was there a question at the back? No.
Hi, thank you
Hi.
for the lovely presentation. I just had a question. My family has the C9 mutation, and I know for the C9 continuity. ALS and FTD are, very much linked. So it's not separate from the disease. It's certainly one disease spectrum, and maybe that's in other parts too. But I know apathy is like the first sign of
Yes.
behavioral FTD. So I didn't know if that factored into anything too.
Yes, and certainly one of the participants that we have did have mild cognitive element that would include apathy, and again there was visible improvements from carrying out this study. Also, the other thing that we have to think of is the amount of agreeableness we also see within some of the areas of the cognition element, and so perhaps a critical for this is they were going and they were continuing to do it and they were challenging to please rather than what they really want to do. That's another thought. But yet the person with apathy was feeling much more positive within the Canadian measure after.
Are there any more questions? Oh, there's one over here.
What I'm hoping is over the next few days we can enjoy some really lively debate. You're probably all being far too polite now. Later on you'll probably be, what were you talking about?
Hi, Marcela Santos from the ALS Association in Colombia.
Hello.
I'm just curious, of the people that did have a positive effect from the exercise, is there a correlation between those people who were used to be active, very active, like sports, practice any sports before that disease? Because I'm a psychologist, so I'm thinking maybe it's what they're used to as what makes them happy, and therefore it's going to be a positive experience for them.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious if you know if those people were used to be active.
Yeah, and out of the 6, there were 2 that were exactly that. So one we did some wheelchair tennis with, and one was particularly upper involvement. So we did do some running. We actually completed a 5K with doing that. The others were not. One hated exercise, had never done exercise in life, and really didn't want to do it anymore, thank you. But remember, the concept that we were doing was increasing doing. Activities of daily living, increasing doing. We're not talking about a treadmill here. We're not talking about resistive exercise. We weren't expecting them to go out and play soccer. Don't worry, won't discuss soccer today. And they increased doing. So it was simple things like clearing out their wardrobe, closet. Okay. Simple things like being able to walk to see their friend. Things like that before they'd have sat down and thought, perhaps it's best if I don't do because I'm feeling really fatigued. They pushed themselves to a mild to moderate level and felt better for doing it.
Amazing.
And what I'm suggesting is that sometimes in the way that we educate on fatigue management, we're not actively encouraging that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Teresa has a question. Teresa, I'm her translator too. She's asking if you're planning on doing a bigger research on this subject.
Possibly. Let's do it in collaboration. We'll do it with Colombia.
And Spain.
And Spain. Oh, getting bigger. I'm actually not from the UK. I'm living in America now. So let's do UK, America, Spain, and Colombia. Let's do that. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank
Is
you.
that any more questions? Oh, there's one at the back.
My name's Mariah. I was curious if you quantified mild and moderate symptoms. Like what?
Yes,
what
really
did that
interesting.
mean?
Been asked this a lot. No, is the best way to describe that. Because that was really difficult to do. So in other words, mild to moderate meant we looked at the ALS-FRS, R-score. We've already discussed that a little bit this morning about how beneficial that is to look at that. So it was a little, no, there wasn't any great measure that. It was technically if they can still do a relative amount of activity is what we called at mild to moderate level. And I'm more than happy to bore you with all the details around our reasoning for that later. So in other words, if somebody had chronic symptomology in upper limb, but had mild or moderate symptomology in lower limb, then we did activity using the lower limb, and vice versa. There was somebody there that was involved with bulbar symptoms, and then we used limbs rather than using endurance training in what they were doing. So it was very much an appreciative inquiry look at their symptoms. Rather than looking at problems, it was looking where their strengths were.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to Helen for that fascinating presentation. Thank you.